Hello, my name is Chris Seymour, and this is my situation analysis for Manatzura and their product leader. For their business definition and scope statement, Manatzura is a startup company that focuses on green technologies to resolve relevant environmental problems. And they've done this with the leader product, which caters to those who have a green thumb and that are interested in having the best compost possible in an efficient manner and reducing their carbon footprint. And the creation of this high-tech vessel composting machine provides optimum conditions for the compost to decompose faster and produce real compost in a short time. And the competitors include other companies such as Closed Loop Organics and Kalea, which provide similar products to Leader. And in this tree diagram, you can see that Leader falls under the general waste category, which ranges from solids, liquids, hazardous and gaseous waste. And it falls under that organic solid food waste, which from food waste therefore moves on to compost, and that's where the Leader product comes in, which it's able to create that solid compost that you don't get from your normal FOGO bins. So for Manatzura's macro environmental analysis, politically it includes waste regulations, subsidies such as the purchase of composting solutions, and political stability. The cost of raw materials as well for economical disposable income levels of the consumer also comes into play, as well as economic trends influencing businesses and investments towards composting solutions such as Leader. Socially, growing environmental awareness is always an issue. Cultural attitudes towards recycling and green waste, as well as demographic shifts such as the Gen Z, who would have a higher demand for this solution. Technological advancements such as efficiency, which Leader looks to introduce, as well as the integration of mobile use, which is good. The composting environmentally, which reduces greenhouse gas emissions, such as rather than your normal waste management solutions. Reduction in landfill waste, as well as availability of organic waste to feed compost. And legally, this falls under, and you have to follow the Environment Protection Act of 2017, as well as look out for and compost restricted animal materials, which you can read further up from the Department of Jobs website. For a micro-environmental analysis, competitive rivalries, which is your competitors, is such as 24 Hours Compost, Kalea, Closed Loop Organics, and Zera, which are all competitors towards Manatzura and their Leader product. They all create a similar product. The threat of new entry is high for this business because there's a high capital investment into the original product. And obtaining necessary permits can pose challenges, as well as established brands already being there. Buyer power is also high, as large companies have significant buying power because they'll be buying in large quantities. Composting machines also give buyers negotiation power on price if they become standardized, and alternative composting options other than Leader also give a high buying power. Threat of substitution as well is consumers can look at just using normal landfill or incineration instead of composting. New and improved innovations that may be better than the Leader product will create substitution, as well as changes in the environmental regulations of compost, which can also defer people away from the Leader product. And a high supply power, because there's specialized units and materials that are needed to create the Leader product, as well as switching material suppliers can also incur major costs. And suppliers can also potentially integrate into manufacturing themselves, which can remove the production, and the supplier will create the product themselves. So some of the key findings and outcomes of the internal environmental analysis is followed by a resource audit of leader. So some of the strengths that we find from leader in the marketing aspect is brand awareness, a long customer relationship, a high quality product was evaluated to be a major strength, as well as some developing the patent and production facilities, things like that, as this is just in the developmental phase, is fairly low on the scale due to this still being up and coming. Some of the weaknesses, obviously, because this is still in the developmental phase, non-marketing area is a lack of a skilled workforce, lack of capital to mass produce, and lack of revenue, which is obviously high on the evaluation scale because this is, again, still in the developmental phase, so this will take a while to introduce. In the Porter's value chain model, we see some intangibles such as a high concern towards a greener future, a patent for the leader product, as well as a high concern of that RAM again in the compost, is all found to be high on the scale within their strengths and weaknesses. Inbound logistics wise, we have supplier relationships supporting local farmers, as well as outbound, we have the fast supply of real compost, which is a major strength for leader, as we can see as a 5 on the scale, as well as maintenance could be another strength for them. In marketing and sales, again, it's in the developmental phase, so there's no sales staff and there's obviously a low promotion at this stage. Stakeholder analysis wise, we've got a few stakeholder groups, which include obviously the creators of the leader product itself, Agriculture Australia, Environment Protection Authorities, commercial composting companies, the farmers, manufacturers and suppliers, as well as customers and consumers. Multiple or many of these have a high influence, such as the leader creators, and impact on the project itself, and to engage with these groups, we'll look to, with the creators, create financial incentives. Also, we'll look to communicate with the agriculture group through the regulations and constant communication, abiding by laws, as it's the same for the Environmental Protection Authority. For farmers, we'll look to give test samples. For manufacturers and suppliers, we'll constantly be negotiating prices, and for the consumers, we'll be promoting this. Some critical success factors include mitigating environmental impacts, the compost quality must meet all the standards, technology reliability and performance, cost effective and affordable to the public, ease of operation and maintenance, and continuous improvement of the leader product. In the SWOT and TOES analysis, we can see strengths include environmentally friendly, can be tracked via mobile. Some weaknesses include requires some maintenance. You have to have some technical knowledge and some budget restrictions. Opportunities can be some government subsidies, which can then lead to growing environmental impact, partnering with a large environmental manufacturer to compost and to provide subsidised compost machines to the consumer. Some threats can also include no consumer interest and similar products, which is why a strategy would be to invest and develop, staying ahead of rule regulations and changes, and always remain competitive. For risk probability, we can see that a high purchase cost is a minor impact, but is a high likelihood, as well as failure to gain passionate customers for compost is a little bit lower, as it's believed that a lot of people are looking to compost and save the environment. But here in Australia, extreme weather can affect green produce, such as fires or large amounts of rain, and therefore that is a major risk and is highly likely due to weather being a constant issue in Australia. For the problem and opportunity statement, to finish, the current government composting system in Australia lacks bad odours and lacks the reduction, of bad odours and fermenting compost, as well as a low-tech decomposition in the FOGO bins that we have, those green bins, which is additionally a high capital investments needed from the consumer and other governing bodies is needed for the leader product to be successful in the future. So overall, competitors and waste management options prove to be a barrier for leader, and cost-effective and efficient composting vessel will need to be implemented into the community. But LEADER also has the opportunity to create and implement a high-tech composting vessel, and the automation of the compost produced removes the need for human interaction, as you can look at this via mobile, and also has the potential to gain major funding and backing from relevant bodies in the future to roll out a model that can be released to the public. Thank you very much for listening, and that's all.